After the Second World War, a single question haunted the capitals of the free world. Who would fill the power vacuum left by defeated empires? On March 12, 1947, President Harry Truman answered with a decision that would define global politics for decades. The Truman Doctrine pledged American support to countries resisting subjugation by armed minorities or outside pressures, a doctrine born in response to communist threats in Greece and Turkey. Greece, torn by civil war, teetered between democracy and communist insurgents. Turkey, strategically perched at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, faced Soviet pressure over control of the straits. Truman's message was simple. The United States would contain the spread of communism. Containment became the spine of American foreign policy. Military advisors, economic assistance, and covert operations followed. The U.S. committed to global intervention, Soviet leaders hardened their stance, and newly liberated states had to choose sides. Europe in 1947 was a shell of its former self. Factories silent, cities in rubble, millions displaced. The Marshall Plan, announced a year after Truman's speech, offered massive American financial aid to rebuild economies, restore infrastructure, and reignite trade. Prosperous nations were less likely to succumb to extremist politics. Over 4 years, billions flowed into industrial recovery, agriculture, and transportation. The Soviets rejected participation and tightened control over Eastern Europe, deepening the divide. The Marshall Plan rewired political loyalties and created the foundation for Western integration, leading to NATO and post-war prosperity. In 1955, the Warsaw Pact was formed, a military alliance linking the USSR with its satellite states in Eastern Europe. On paper, it mirrored NATO. In reality, it was an instrument of Soviet control. The pact institutionalized Europe's division. Military command, weapon deployments, and troop movements enforced cohesion and repression. Governments lost autonomy, and dissent could be met with force, as Hungary in 1956 and Czechoslovakia in 1968 learned. NATO and the Warsaw Pact turned Europe into a constant standoff, where every move risked escalation. On October 4, 1957, a small satellite changed the world. Sputnik 1 became the first human-made object to orbit Earth. The beeping sphere triggered a shockwave globally. Sputnik proved Soviet scientific prowess and sparked the space race. Competition not just for achievement, but for ideological supremacy. Governments poured resources into rockets, satellites, and education. In the U.S., Sputnik accelerated NASA's creation and investments in science curricula. The same rockets that lofted satellites could deliver nuclear warheads, making space a theater of strategic advantage. Yet, beyond politics, the space race advanced technology, reshaping communication, navigation, and understanding of Earth. The Cold War also played out in the skies. Fighter jets, reconnaissance planes, and bombers became the cutting edge of deterrence. From Korean War dogfights to patrols along the Iron Curtain, air power embodied the threat of sudden conflict. Each new generation of aircraft, faster, stealthier, more lethal, raised the stakes. Incidents could ignite crises, and militarization accelerated innovation. Radar, jet engines, aerial refueling, and electronic warfare advanced rapidly. Planes were also signals of resolve, shaping national budgets, industrial priorities, and public imagination. By the 1980s, the Soviet system showed strains it could no longer hide. Mikhail Gorbachev sought reform through perestroika and glasnost, decentralizing the economy, introducing market mechanisms, and allowing freer discussion. Opening the system revealed long-suppressed grievances, inspiring movements that eroded control. Gorbachev's foreign policy reduced confrontation. He negotiated arms reductions, withdrew from Afghanistan, and avoided intervention in Eastern Europe. His restraint allowed a cascade of revolutions in 1989 and the eventual Soviet collapse. Even amid geopolitics, human stories remind us of the era's moral texture. Laika, a stray dog aboard Sputnik 2 in 1957, became the first living creature to orbit Earth, a symbol of progress and cost. Laika did not return, sparking debate over ethics. Her story reflects how the Cold War touched lives. Families separated by borders, pressured scientists, and ordinary people living under the shadow of rivalry. These narratives, courage, sacrifice, curiosity, regret, make abstract stakes real. The Cold War's end was not just the fall of a system, but the release of millions from fear. The Cold War lasted nearly half a century, a contest of wills, technology, and ideas that reshaped borders, economies, and lives. From Truman's pledge in Athens to the Soviet Union's quiet collapse, the era teaches that power without legitimacy is fragile, and competition without restraint can cost the vulnerable. I thank you for watching my newest video. If you are interested in the content, I have released another video summarizing World War II in just 4 minutes. I will link that in the card above.